Alright, listen up. If you clicked on this video hoping I'd praise every single anime coming next spring, like,
Oh my god, peak fiction. Anime has been saved.
wrong channel. Every anime season is the same story, a chaotic mess made up of a few genuine diamonds, a pile of overhyped mid-shows, and a couple of absolute disasters that fandoms will defend with their lives. I'm not here to be everyone's friend. I'm here to figure out what's actually worth watching, what's just dumb fun you can turn your brain off to, and what you should avoid if you value your time. I went through almost the entire spring anime lineup for next year, constantly asking myself questions like, wait, this is still getting another season, and who asked for this to continue? But every now and then, there were a few titles that made me stop and think. So yeah, this is going to be part one. Not because of clickbait, but because if I try to cover everything in one go, my office worker back is going to file a complaint. Enough talking. Let's get into the titles that actually matter. Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, Season 2. The first title on the list, and the one I genuinely have nothing bad to say about, is Frieren. I know starting a rage bait style video with praise is kind of illegal, but sorry, Frieren is the exception. After years of fantasy being flattened by cheap formulaic isekai, Frieren shows up like, alright, are you guys done messing around? Let me show you how fantasy should be done. This anime doesn't win through flashy fights or insane plot twists. It wins through slow, quiet, painfully human emotion. Frieren straight up removes the most try-hard part of fantasy, the big demon lord quest, and instead asks a much more uncomfortable question. What happens after the Demon King is defeated? Viewing the world through the eyes of an elf who lives far too long makes every moment heavier. And when Frieren realizes she never truly understood the companions who already passed away, that's when the anime really starts hitting the viewer. Season 1 was so successful, it sat at the top of anime rankings for a long time. With that foundation, Season 2 only needs to do one thing: don't mess it up. With Madhouse behind it, it's fair to expect a continuation that stays slow, sincere, and faithful to what made Season 1 special. Re:Zero, Starting Life in Another World, Season 4. Re:Zero is the perfect example of how isekai doesn't have to be cheap wish fulfillment. If someone still says, all isekai is trash, without having watched Re:Zero, then they either haven't seen it, or they didn't understand it. This series exists to punch every dumb isekai expectation straight in the face. The main character isn't overpowered, isn't universally loved, and dies in the worst, stupidest, most exhausting ways possible. So often that watching it can feel emotionally draining. But that's exactly what makes Re:Zero stand out. Episodes like The Outside of Madness show how high the series can peak with near-perfect directing, music, and emotional payoff. One of Re:Zero's biggest strengths is that it doesn't treat side characters like filler. Everyone has a past, everyone has motivations, and their stories are revealed gradually instead of being dumped on the viewer. Season 4 doesn't need to reinvent anything. It just needs to maintain its quality, avoid dumb cuts, and not turn Subaru into a joke character. Because Re:Zero has already proven its value. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Season 4. Alright, now it's time to vent. Let's be honest, Slime Season 3 was bad. Not train wreck bad, but bad in the way that hurts. More. It betrayed what made the series fun in the first place. Season 1 was pure power fantasy enjoyment. Season 2 added emotional weight and real consequences. Season 3 was nap material. I watched it during my lunch breaks at work, and no anime has ever made me feel like I was sitting through endless corporate meetings this hard. Rimuru went from an action-driven protagonist to an actual chairman. Meetings, reports, diplomacy, more meetings. The power is still there, but it's rarely used in a satisfying way. The build-up drags on forever, and when the action finally happens, it's over quickly and feels underwhelming. Season 3 is a textbook example of changing storytelling focus without changing direction or presentation. I don't hate Slime. I hate that it forgot why people liked it. For Season 4, I just hope it remembers what made Seasons 1 and 2 work. Classroom of the Elite, Season 4. Classroom of the Elite is one of those anime where the controversy is louder than its actual quality. And frankly, it's very good at pretending to be smart. Season 1 worked because of its vibe. dark atmosphere, a twisted school system, and a main character judging everyone like he's 5 steps ahead of humanity. But the longer you watch, the more you realize the show talks more than it shows. Ayano Koji wins, not because we clearly see his thought process, but because the script says he wins. Opponents conveniently get dumber. Plans conveniently succeed. Seasons 2 and 3 didn't fix this. They just sped things up to hide the cracks. Reddit isn't wrong. This is a weak adaptation compared to the light novel. Season 4 is still worth watching, not because it'll become a masterpiece, but because it'll definitely start another war online. And that's where part 1 ends, mostly because my real-life deadline is catching up to me. Part 2 will happen, assuming I'm still alive and anime seasons haven't fully destroyed my mental health by then. See you next time, where I'll continue watching anime and complaining about it until the industry maybe, hopefully, learns something.